Greetings and welcome back to the channel. Doing something a bit different today. It's no wild camping. There's been a lot of discussion regarding the tent that I've got, the Anaris, compared to a Lanshan. So I thought I'd get hold of one. Thanks to my mate Ben, who I'll put a link down to his channel in the description. Well, Ben let me have a loan of his Lanshan. This is the Lanshan 2 ultralight tent, and I'm going to compare it. I'm going to pitch both tents, and I'm going to compare it to the Anaris, to the Hilleberg Anaris. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the tents up, and then we'll have a close look at them both. The Lanshan is coming in at 1,330 grams, including the ground sheet, and the Anaris comes in at 1,675 grams, including the ground sheet, so 333 grams lighter. So let's see if it's worth it. I'll bring you back when I put the tents up. Okay, so the first thing I've noticed is where you actually fit the pole to the tent. On the Anaris, you've got this canvas tube with a really thick protecting thing at the top, and I suppose that will add quite amount of strength to the actual tent when it's set up. If you've got really thick poles, thick handles on your poles, this is something you might struggle with, but I'm using the Black Diamond Trail Shock Pro on this one, and it fits in fine. It's in fine. Anyway, that's the first thing I've noticed, is that this is different to the Lanshan. But I'm going to put the Anaris up first, and then we'll have a look at the same procedure when using the Lanshan. Okay, so here on the Lanshan, you don't have a sleeve as such, you just have like a reinforced pouch, and it is thick, but right on the very tip it is. Now I'm assuming that's where the handle goes on your walking pole, so you like this. I have seen where people use half a tennis ball and use that to strengthen the actual that seam, but I'm going to put it in anyway and put it up. But I think the Hilleberg is better. I think it's a better design, although heavier. It does give this doesn't feel strong. It doesn't feel like it'd be strong enough in a high wind, but I'm going to put it up, and I'm not going to judge anything yet. Okay, that's both tents up now. First impression, putting them up, there's not much in it really. I suppose the Anaris was easier to put up, but that's probably because it's a tent I'm used to putting up. There wasn't much in it. The Lanshan, it's got two side guy lines that I've not used. I suppose that's to pull the fly from off stop it from touching the inner, I suppose. The Anaris doesn't have that. It has a different system where it has a high end on the edge, but I'll show you that when I get inside. But yeah, I'm not actually convinced about the pole socket in the Lanshan. It just doesn't look safe to me, but again, we'll go into that. Okay, like I said, both tents are up, and what I'm going to do now is we're going to have a walk around the outside. Oh, the house, by the way, in the background that's called Tapton House. It was the home of the famous railway pioneer George Stephenson, next door neighbour. So yeah, back to subject. I'm going to go for a walk around the Lanshan first, and I'll point a few things out that have caught my eye. Okay, so this is the Lanshan, and it's the Lanshan 2 3UL ultralight gear. There you go. Ben, who let me have a loan of the tent, he got it from AliExpress, and I think he paid in the region of £130 for it. He's done his own seam sealing job there, but I think he says he's gonna re-look at that. So my first impressions about the material that it's made from, it doesn't seem as strong, or as the quality isn't up to the Curlon standard of the Anaris. I like the vent idea. I think this is a great idea. I like this, but again, I'm not keen on that. I'm not keen on where the tent goes. So you've got these guy lines at the side, and these would pull out and they would hold the tent away, the fly away from the inner tent. It's got the same number of pegging points as the Anaris. It's a very, it's a very similar design. I probably haven't put it up as well as I could have done, but it's just to have a look at them, and at the end we'll decide, which is the best tent for the money, really, because that is the killer. Massive difference in price. Right, let's have a look inside. So here we are inside the Lanshan 2. Is there space for two? Yeah, I would think so. At a squeeze, but definitely, enough space for one man and his kit. You can see the hooks there, where on the fly, where it hooks that lifts the inner tent up as well. I didn't realise that, but that when you pull the guy outside on the side guy, it will lift the inner tent. Now, what's it got that the Anaris hasn't? A pocket. The Anaris, for some reason, doesn't have a pocket to put stuff in, which is a bit annoying. The zip system is similar, it's very same, although the quality of the zips on this, they're no match for the Anaris. The ground sheet, it looks fine, it looks okay, but again, it's not as, the quality isn't there like it is on the Anaris. It's not as thick. Yeah, it's not as thick there, but again, it's fine, it's all right, you could live with it. I've set both tents up to the same height, so everything's all good. The vestibule, yeah, that's a decent size. You can cook in there in bad weather. Yeah, everything's fine, it's okay, it's all right. The instructions there, the fire instructions, are all in Chinese, but you're getting a tent from China. That's what you've got to expect, really, I suppose. So my first impressions of the Lanshan. Right. I think it's okay. I think for the £130 for this design and this style of tent, I think you'll do all right. The trekking pole tent, it's okay. The design is very similar to the Anaris, but the quality is not the same. I think if I was laid down in there on my mat with my pillow, my head would be touching the sides. I would have to have that guy line out, otherwise the tent, the tent would be flopping on my face during the night, and there's nothing more annoying, is there? Okay, so that's my quick walk around the Lanshan. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Hilleberg Anaris. As you can see, you've got the sleeve that the pole goes into, and then you've got this reinforced double layer, in fact, material there to keep your poles secure and in place. In a wind, I could see the Lanshan I could see the pole coming out of its sit, where it sits, and I don't know, I just don't think it would be as secure as what the Hilleberg is. The Hilleberg seems a lot wider, it's bigger, which means it's got a bigger footprint. Therefore, you know, I suppose you're kind of restricted to where you can go in it. Again, it's not pitched up great. The ground isn't level as what I wanted it to be. But yeah, we're gonna go around it. The zip on the Anaris, let me just tighten that up a little bit. Let's tighten that up. The zips on the Anaris, far better quality. The material on the fly is thin, but it just feels so strong, and it's really, the seams are well done. You know, it's just all the quality, I suppose. But you know, that's what you pay for. You do pay for that. So let's have a look inside. Again, it's the one zip. It's the single zip, but you see the zip is a much better quality zip than what's on the Lanshan. But the cost of that is the weight. This, you know, this adds to the weight. This is, like I said previously at the beginning, this is 333 grams heavier than the Lanshan, and the Hilleberg has got the footprint on as well. So inside, it does seem bigger. It does seem a little bit wider. I'll write the specs in the description, or if you're not, you know, you can always message me. Now the difference in here with this one is the tent doesn't have that side guy line, so it's the design that keeps the fly off, stops it from touching the inner. Now if I look through here, if you look through, so there's quite a distance. You know, there's a hand span between the inner tent and the fly. So Hilleberg have obviously designed that in, and if you look up at the top, again you can see that the inner is nowhere near the top, where in the Lanshan's case it does tend to touch. So if you're suffering with condensation, that's not a good plan. Now inside, no pockets, which is a bind. But on here, the black, so the floor comes up along the floor and up the side, and that lifts. So I find that when I'm sleeping in this, the tent it's a bit lower that side because of the way the ground is. But you know, if I had to pitch like this and it was out in the field, I'd just sleep on this side. But you've got a distance between the floor and the fly, and it's a decent distance. So you know, you're not going to get the fly, the inner tent flapping in your face while you're sleeping at night. Vestibule, one on each side, same as the Lanshan. This is a little bit bigger. This is a little bit wider. This just seems a bigger tent. The tent seems wider altogether. You know, again, you comfortably get 2 people in here, but with the kit in the vestibules. Yeah, I've got there's a little clothesline up here, which I suppose you could put into the Lanshan as well. Only thing difference is you've got them. They haven't got this being pulled away by the outer fly with the guy, and there is no pocket. I find what I do anyway. I have a little dry bag, and I put all my stuff in my dry bag. So there you have it. That's inside the Anaris. The mesh tent and the floor is far better quality. It's far better quality than the Lanshan. Yeah. Anyway, let's have another look outside. I'm just trying to get a perspective of how wide it is, and I think that this is a little bit wider than the Lanshan. But you know, it's extra weight. Do you need all that room, or would you prefer less weight? You know, that's the question you've got to ask yourself. I'm just going to come and stand at the side of this. Yeah, this does seem quite a bit smaller. Yeah, have a look at the specs on them if you're interested in both, and I think you know, you should, if you want this type of tent, you should look at both. Just have a look at the specs and see what it is you want. I'm only telling you from my perspective of what I think it is, and if I only use the tent on my own anyway, I only use the Anaris for myself. and if I was to use this for myself, then that's plenty big enough for me and my dog. It is a little bit smaller, but I don't think it's a negative at all. I think it's just the way that it is, and that's how it is. I suppose I could lift that higher off the ground, actually, the Lanshan. But I set both poles at 125 centimetres. Maybe the Lanshan could go a bit higher, I don't know, but it does look a bit stressed in some areas. But it's, you know, if I was going out, I would sleep in it. It's as simple as that. I don't overthink when I'm pitching my tent. I don't overthink it. I just put it up and it'll do. Right, so my thoughts. I'm gonna go with, out of the two, the better tent by far is a Hilleberg. But you would expect that. I think the retail price of the Anaris is something like £660 or something like that. I got mine at a discount. I used my Forces discount card and got a 15% discount on that, so it made it quite an attractive purchase. The Lanshan is £130 from AliExpress. I don't know if you can get them, you know, where you can get them from in this country, but that's where Ben got his. And for the money, I think the Lanshan's all right. It's you know, it's the old adage, you get what you pay for. Would I trust it in a windy, stormy night? Absolutely not. I don't like that pole. I don't like the pole where the pole sits, and I understand why a lot of people put that half a tennis ball over the top. To make it, to give it a bit more room to, you know, to go in. But no, I wouldn't trust it in a storm. I would the Anaris. I've used it in wind and it's been raining. I mean, there's absolutely no wind here at the moment. You know, so yeah, the Anaris is better, but it's more expensive. My camera's overheating, so I'm just going to switch it off a little bit. So where were we before my camera overheated? Yeah, comparing the two, I would say if you've got the money and you can afford the Anaris, go with the Anaris. 100%. If you don't have the money, and I appreciate that not everybody can throw that amount of money at a 3-season tent that you're only going to use in the summer, then I think that the Lanshan 2 that we've got here for £130, go for it. It's worth the money. You'll be able to get out in it. You just have to do a few modifications. You've got to seam seal them for a start, and then you need to sort that pole thing out. But that's easily done, and I've seen people, like I said before, I've seen people do it with a tennis ball, and it seems to work for them. So, you know, that's okay. So overall, without a doubt, Anaris won. It won. Easy. People don't look for quality, then, or people can't afford the quality, go with the Lanshan. It's simple. I will defend the Anaris now, and I hear people, and I have heard them on social media and read where I'm a mug for buying one, where you can pick up the Lanshan, and this played on my mind. You know, you're a mug. Why do you go and spend all that money on that when that's just as good? Well, I borrowed Ben's. I asked Ben if I could borrow his tent, and he said yes. I've had them both up together, and I have absolutely no regrets about buying the Hilleberg Anaris. Absolutely no regrets at all. It's just a no-brainer. So you know, you can carry, you know, people can say, well, they'll see the video and I'll get lots of thumbs down from the Lanshan lovers, and that's fine. And I can live with that, and I do appreciate what they're saying, because it's not a bad tent. I'm not saying it's a bad tent. It's not a bad tent. It's a decent tent, a good tent for the money. The Anaris is a good tent for the money. That's the best way I can sum it up. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, come to me. Put them down in the in this question bit there. Just put a comment, and I'll get back to you. I'm away now for a while. There'll be more wild camping for a while, but when I do go, I'll be going in my Anaris, especially during the summer. So thanks for watching. Thanks for staying with me. I'm not a reviewer. I don't review, but I just wanted to do this for myself and for Ben. Ben wanted an idea as well. Ben Dale Outdoors. So that's how it is. That's what it is. And I'm not bigging up the Anaris because I own it. I'm bigging it up because it's the better tent. Thanks.